The Texas sun beat down hard on the rusted tin roof of Ray's Auto and Tire. Inside the garage, grease-covered tools clattered and a fan lazily spun overhead, barely cutting the heat. Ray Carter, mid-30s, single dad, leaned under the hood of a '92 pickup, sweat dripping from his brow. Life hadn't been kind lately. Business was slow, bills piled high, and his old truck drank more oil than it should. He didn't complain, he just worked harder. That's what men like him did. He didn't notice the black motorcycle until it rumbled up and stopped with a hiss of brakes. The rider removed her helmet slowly, revealing a mass of tangled hair and sunglasses that reflected the bright sky. She looked tough, but her voice was soft. "Bike's overheating. Can you take a look?" Ray nodded, wiping his hands on a rag. "Sure. You passing through?" She shrugged. "Something like that." Her leather jacket was worn, her boots dusty. She looked like any other drifter, except something about her didn't add up. Her watch was expensive, her voice calm, precise. Ray's instinct stirred, but he said nothing as he rolled her bike into the shade. As he examined the engine. Ray made small talk. "What brings you through Gable Creek?" The woman hesitated before answering. "Just needed a break from the road. Figured I'd see how small towns survive." Ray chuckled. "Barely." He pried open the coolant cap and steam hissed out. "She's running hot. Hoses cracked. I've got a spare, if you don't mind something secondhand." The woman nodded, sitting on an overturned crate, watching him with quiet curiosity. "You work alone?" He nodded. "Just me and my 9-year-old daughter, Jessie. She's at school." "Must be tough," the woman said, her voice softer. Ray nodded. Again, avoiding eye contact. "You get used to it." "After Jessie's mom left, well, I figured I'd be both parents." He focused harder on the engine. He didn't like talking about himself, especially not to strangers. Still, something about her felt different, not threatening, but probing, like she was trying to understand. More than what he said. She didn't look away when he spoke, didn't flinch when silence stretched between them. Ray finished swapping the hose and began checking the radiator, as the sun slid behind the trees. Ray leaned back and wiped his hands. "Should be good now. Take her easy for the next few miles." She stood and handed him a few folded bills. He looked down, surprised. "This is too much." She smiled, half amused. "Call it gratitude. Not everyone would help a stranger without asking questions." He tried to hand it back, but she was already putting on her helmet. "You have a good heart, Ray." He froze. "How'd you know my name?" She tapped the shop sign above her. "Lucky guess." As she revved the bike and rolled off down the road, Ray stood in silence. The air seemed different, now charged somehow. He pocketed the money, still unsure what had just happened. The next morning, a brand new coolant hose and a box of premium tools were delivered to his shop with no note. Ray looked around for cameras, thinking it was a mistake. The shipping label read, "To Ray Carter, thank you for your kindness." No sender's name. Just that. He placed the tools on his workbench, puzzled, then got back to fixing brakes. The woman's visit lingered in Ray's mind all week. Jessie asked why he kept looking up every time a motorcycle passed. He didn't answer. Then, a man in a suit came by, said he was scouting rural businesses for a restoration investment program. Wanted to know about Ray's history, his work, his vision. Ray answered politely, though he didn't know what to make of it. "We'll be in touch," the man said before leaving. Ray assumed it was just a marketing scam. He didn't mention it to anyone. Just kept fixing engines and paying bills late. Late Friday evening, Ray heard that same familiar rumble again. The woman was back. This time, her bike purred like a kitten. "Just passing through again," she said, but Ray wasn't convinced. She leaned against the wall as Jessie came out, holding a math book. The woman knelt and smiled at the girl. "You're smart, like your dad," Jesse beamed. Ray felt a chill. "Do I know you?" he asked. The woman stood and simply said, "Not yet." She handed him a business card, but he couldn't read it before she disappeared again into the dusk. Ray stared at the card. It was blank on one side, embossed on the other. A company name he didn't recognize, Silverstream Ventures. When he Googled it that night, he nearly dropped his phone. Billionaire tech heiress Savannah Lowell had founded it. Her picture looked familiar, though in magazines she wore gowns, not leathers. Ray sat back stunned. That wasn't just any biker. That was her, and she'd come back. But why? He didn't know yet. But his life was about to change. Ray didn't sleep much that night. He kept flipping the card over and over, reading Silverstream Ventures as if it might change meanings. Jesse noticed the dark circles under his eyes the next morning. "You okay, Dad?" He nodded, forcing a smile. "Just thinking." But all day, Ray couldn't shake the feeling that something big was coming. He'd lived his whole life in Gable Creek, and nothing big ever happened here. Now a billionaire had rolled up on a motorcycle, fixed her own engine, and watched him like she already knew who he was. It didn't make sense. The following Monday, a silver SUV pulled into the dusty lot outside Ray's shop. Two men in suits stepped out, but this time, they weren't here to ask questions. One of them handed Ray an envelope. "We've been authorized to offer you a full restoration grant, $250,000 to modernize this garage, hire help, and expand." Ray blinked. "Is this a joke?" The man shook his head. "Savannah Lowell believes in rewarding character. She's chosen you." Ray's hands trembled. He'd never held more than a few $100s at once. Now someone was offering him $250,000? Just for being kind? He didn't answer right away. He walked into his garage, looked around at the cracked floor, rusty tools, peeling walls. His dad had opened this shop before Ray was born. It wasn't just a building, it was their story. Now someone wanted to rewrite that story with a future. Ray stepped back outside and said quietly, "Tell her thank you, I accept." The men nodded, handed him paperwork, and left without another word. That night, Jesse found him sitting under the porch, staring out at the stars. "Dad?" He looked at her, eyes wet. "We're gonna be okay, baby. We're really gonna be okay." The renovation started 2 days later. Contractors arrived with polished trucks and blueprints. The townsfolk watched in awe as the small, dusty garage transformed into something sleek, modern, and proud. People who hadn't stopped by in years began dropping in again. Ray stayed humble. He still fixed every engine by hand, still wore the same oil-stained cap. But things were different now. He hired a part-time assistant. He paid off his debts. Jesse got new school supplies and a laptop. The town started whispering, "That's the man who helped a billionaire and didn't even know it." Then one Friday evening, as Ray was closing shop, the same motorcycle rolled in. Savannah removed her helmet and smiled. "I see you made good use of the grant." Ray grinned. "You didn't give me much of a choice." They both laughed. "You came all this way just to check up on me?" She looked around and said, "I came back because I believe in people who fix what's broken, not just machines." For a second, she looked almost vulnerable. Ray motioned toward the office. "You hungry?" Jesse made chili. Savannah hesitated, then nodded. "I'd love some chili." They sat on the back porch as the sun dipped low. Jesse chatted with Savannah like they were old friends. Ray watched them, a strange warmth filling his chest. When Jesse went inside for dessert, Savannah leaned closer. "I was looking for something when I came through town, Ray. I didn't know what, but I found it here." Ray looked into her eyes, quiet, What was it? She smiled gently. Honesty, kindness, real people, and maybe someone who doesn't care what's in my bank account. Ray shrugged. Never asked, she nodded. That's why I came back. Asterisk, as the stars came out, Savannah told him her story. She'd grown up surrounded by wealth but not love. Her parents had died young, and she'd been raised by boardrooms and tutors. She took her company public at 29, but lost sight of herself somewhere along the way. A month ago, she packed a bag and hit the road, determined to see what real life felt like. Then I met you, she said. And for once, I didn't feel like a brand. I felt seen. Ray looked at her quietly. Well, you are. Asterisk Savannah. Stayed the weekend. She helped Jesse plant tomatoes, swept the garage floor, and learned how to change brake pads. For the first time in years, Ray felt something blooming in his chest that wasn't stress or struggle, it was hope. The town, too, began to change. More people brought in their cars. A local magazine did a story titled, From Grease to Gold. The mechanic who inspired a billionaire. Ray hated the attention, but Savannah smiled. Sometimes, good people need the spotlight too. Asterisk, by Sunday night, Savannah stood by her motorcycle, helmet in hand. I should get back to the city, she said. Ray nodded, unsure what to say. Jesse clung to her leg. Will you come back? Savannah knelt down. You bet. I'm not finished here yet. She looked up at Ray. Are you? He hesitated. Then said softly, I don't think I ever started until now. She smiled, kissed Jesse's forehead, and shook Ray's hand a moment longer than necessary. Then she roared off into the dark, her taillight fading down the gravel road like a promise not quite broken.